China is taking over, and China knew what's happening. The Chinese guys are planning 100 years ahead, and the future of Africa is Chinese in a way. However, you got to remember that people that live in Africa, they really don't mind the difference in human rights as much as we mind in Europe or in the States, because they have different problems. You care whether your children will have clean water to drink, and if they will be able to go to school. So the priorities are much different. For sure, the quality of life in Africa will skyrocket. It's going to be the second case study of China. Yeah, I mean, already now in Nigeria, 200 million people, couple million of people are already living on a very nice level. They live in the big cities, they're making nice money. You still have 190 million people which live below the poverty line. But both the West and the China need African people to have a lot of purchasing power, because in order for capitalism to succeed, you need growth. So the capital is always moving into regions where the chance for the growth is the highest, which is Africa now, because you can't squeeze out 10% of GDP growth from Europe anymore. Europe is already, old and established. You can squeeze out 10% growth from Africa. So definitely what's cool about it is that the middle class will become powerful. People will be able to live comfortable lives. The infrastructure will be built. Whether the Africa will be the leader in technology, will you have the leadership of patents and intellectual property from Africa? Very unlikely. Will there be a lot of multimillionaires from Africa? For sure, but most of the money will go to Chinese investors or Western investors. So on the top, there won't be that much change. But I'm really positive about middle class in Africa, people getting out of poverty, living comfortable life. They will have to pay a price for this. Probably liberties will be way lower than the liberties are in Europe or in the States. But I think it's the price they are willing to pay, because they just care about different things, because their problems are much different. You can't expect someone to be vegan and care about the energy and environment if they don't have running water. They just care about different things yet, and you can't blame them for that. That's my take.
Yeah, so Jake and I were in India last year with the Dalai Lama, or about a year and a half ago, and went over a couple times. And to be able to see in India so many people that if you want water, you get to walk down the street to a pump the water, it comes out whatever, warm, cold, whatever temp is going on. And if you want, like for us, we got to boil the water to be able to drink it. Or if you want hot water, there's a big fire outside that you got to keep running. So there's a lot of difference, and we have no clue what that is in America.
Yeah.
So you're a part of a mentor program. It's the World Bank Group. Tell me a little bit about that. It's a Mentor XL Africa program. And are you being mentored, or are you mentoring other within the banking industry, or is it other business owners?
Yeah. So I was one of the mentors. The people that are mentored are called mentees. So, World Bank is this huge institution sponsored by many big economies in the world. And it's like a World Bank, as the name says. They're trying to put some programs in place to develop economies. And one of their projects was about transferring knowledge from entrepreneurs that have already achieved something in different areas, in different regions of the world, and match them with startups, with young founders from South Africa, from Nigeria, and from Kenya. So the World Bank is not the only organization that does it. Actually, there's plenty of them. I'm talking about hundreds of them that do this matchmaking. And I always say yes to this in what's the word? Ideas, this projects, because this is what Africa is missing: the access to knowledge and networks. Because if you live in a smaller village somewhere close to Lagos, Nigeria, you just don't have a chance to talk to someone sometimes that has a bigger experience than you. And closing the gap between those who are successful and those who want to be successful was extremely important. I mean, even Jack Ma, not sure if you know the history of Jack Ma, in his biography, he was part of such a program. He would travel to a family in Australia from time to time. He was like their virtually adopted kid. And, they would mentor him, maybe not business-wise because he was too young, but they would just, take care of him. And that closing the gap between underdeveloped regions and more developed regions, or underdeveloped people and more developed people and more lucky people, is extremely important. You can't just throw money into the country, yeah, because in the last 60 years, the West has like sent like tens of trillions of dollars. Then this clearly doesn't work. You can't just throw money and assume that it will grow. You need different ways of helping. And I think what is needed is the transfer of knowledge and human interaction. So that's why I'm getting involved in it.
So let me ask you this. You've been a part of the whole travel industry for what, about 10 years now?
Yeah. I mean, 7-8 years. Yeah.
And I look at, are you guys doing more travel in Africa, or is it, internationally?
So the two businesses I was involved in, I kind of left the online travel space 2 years ago when I sold my last company. But in total, it was 8 years. And it was mainly intra-African travel. So we wouldn't even serve foreigners traveling to Africa or Africans traveling to Dubai. Our main focus, those two businesses that we have built, Jumia Travel and Hotel Online, was really travel inside the continent. So Nigerians traveling to Ghana, Ghanaians traveling to Nigeria, or Nigerians traveling within the country for business or for pleasure, whatever. Because we believe that it's very hard to compete with Booking.com or Expedia. I mean, come on, these guys are behemoths, yeah? They're like 80% of all the online bookings in the world is happening in one of those two brands. They own like 50 brands in total, but the main ones are Booking.com and Expedia. And it's impossible to compete with them, not a chance. I mean, the online travel industry is like a duopoly. But if you're going to a new market, for a Nigerian that is about to travel for the first time because he's a young guy, he starts traveling for business, and he has never booked online, he doesn't know Booking.com brand. So I have a chance to win him because for him, Booking.com is as new brand as my brand. So we were fighting for this newly established market. That was part of our strategy, really.
That's super smart to be able to go after the business side of when people start booking. Is travel growing in Africa?
I mean, let's assume that there's no COVID, because last 3 months have changed everything. But online travel was one of the fastest growing sectors like ever across all the sectors in the world. Because, once you have those rich countries establish their economies, people make more and more money. What can they do with that money? They start traveling. So travel is one of the fastest growing sectors. And then when you look at travel sector, Africa as a region was top 2 or top 3 in terms of fastest growing regions in the fastest growing sector. So we were like, it was crazy. Yeah, it was growing fast.
So what do you spend most of your time on now within the Africa sector? What do you love doing the most? I mean, there's two different questions. What are you spending most of your time, and what do you love doing the most?
Yeah. So for the last 10 years, my focus was mostly on e-commerce and online travel. Now I got out of online travel. I still have a bet on e-commerce. We have a digital marketing agency in Africa. My other bet is renewable energies, but we build a company around that from Sweden. But me personally, I'm the 0 to 1 guy. So I'm most excited about building businesses from scratch, up to $1 million revenue, maybe up to 100 people in the organization. When it becomes more organized, it gets boring. I'm allergic to Excel. One of the reasons why I always loved running businesses in technology, in the internet, first in Eastern Europe and then in Sub-Saharan Africa, is because it was so chaotic. First of all, in the online space, there are almost no rules. So that the legal system of any country has been built like 100 years ago. And you probably are aware of that the laws we have nothing to do with what's happening on the internet. And then Africa in itself, I mean, majority, because Africa, we're talking about 54 countries, right? So it's really hard to generalize. But in general, I can say that Africa is a very young economy. And in every young economy, it's not structured. So you had that double chaos, which is double double the fun. It's chaotic because it's online, it's technology, and it's chaotic because it's Africa. And I love that chaos. I thrive on it. When company gets bigger, I'm bored. I always thought it's because of my age, but I'm 33 now. It hasn't changed. So it's just a personality type. It has nothing to do with my age.
So I love that you're young and you're mentoring other people. What kind of mentors did you have that added a ton of value to your life when you were younger?
I had one amazing mentor. So my story is that I was on the first year of my university. I was studying industrial engineering and management, interdisciplinary topic. And I really wanted to make some money because my parents were sending me some shitty money every month, and that was the way to control me. And I knew that I had to make extra money in order to do what I want. And and there was this guy that I knew that started wearing suits to the university, and he said that now he's the financial advisor. In reality, he was working for one of those companies that you can probably learn about from Wolf of Wall Street, the movie, or Boiler Room. Just selling insurance, selling mortgages, selling stocks. And that was year 2006, and the capital markets in Poland were going like this. That was before the Lehman Brothers crash. And the guy was making like in an hour more than my parents were making in a month. Yeah. So he brought me there. And at that stage, I had no clue about financial markets. Apparently, I was good in sales, although I didn't know that yet. And the company was very young. There was only 5 of us. I was like the employee number 5. They just started. And I was working directly for this guy that came from Germany. Apparently, he has done something in Germany, and he was mentoring us all because we were building his company. And fast forward next 3 years, the company has grown into 5,000 people. I was like a part of this huge adventure, became pretty senior in this company. And I was working for this guy throughout all those years. And till today, when I hear the old Nokia sound, because 2006 there was no smartphones. This guy had such a charisma, so much energy. I'm still quoting his quotes. Till today, if I hear an old Nokia sound, my adrenaline level goes up because I'm afraid he's calling me. And he was like such a rough guy. He has built this amazing financial empire. He was my age when he retired. He bought himself a couple of houses. He bought himself a plane. And then he made himself a plane license, pilot license. And on one of his first trips, he crashed in the mountain life, where he already did everything he wanted when he was 33. And I keep thinking about him every week. Yeah, I used to be every day. So many of my business rules, it comes after him. So definitely he has shaped me in business. And I guess that's how I have this personal thing to mentoring other guys as well.
Wow, that's incredible. Looking at your book, Chasing Black Unicorns, I love the picture. Whoever did the design, freaking amazing. I mean, your picture is like a rock star picture. I mean, you're the next James Bond, obviously. But where did you get the creativity out of it? And how did you, what kind of people did you put around yourself to be able to build, a bestseller?
Talking about the book promotion?
Yeah. And just the book, just writing it, your passion.
The book, yeah. So there were a couple of reasons why I wrote the book. And there was this more egoistic reasons and less egoistic reasons. The more egoistic is that I guess everyone at some point wants to write a book, right? You're going to be rich and famous. You want to leave your legacy, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know that it's going to happen that fast. But when I moved to Africa and I was looking for literature about running business in Africa, I couldn't find anything. I mean, I found a book about the guy that opened a bank in Nigeria, and he built one of the biggest banks in Nigeria. And then he never mentioned the word corruption once in this book. So I was like, this is bullshit. I mean, this is just a PR department writing his book. And when this stuff happened to me, in that night in jail, as cliche as it sounds, I told myself, oh my God, if I write a business book, I just made it way more interesting. I just have to, get out of this. So the motivation behind being able to finish with a happy end in order to write a book and share my story was an extremely powerful motivator that I needed. Yeah, and on the less egoistic side, like I already mentioned, like there's too much business books which are just full of sugar. You want to vomit when you read them. They're just so polished, etc. I wanted to write a robot